Is doing well. Let's move this up a little bit. There you go. But yeah, I hope everybody is doing well, having a good night, being safe, So, have a special guest I wanted to bring on today. And matter of fact, he's in the room now. So we're going to bring him on in. See if I can figure out how to do this. Let's see. All right, Pharaoh, you there?
All right. All right.
What's up, brother?
No,
Nothing much. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. What's going on with you?
Good, good, good. Good to see you, man. I know you're a busy man.
Well, all at the last minute, so I wasn't expecting somebody to call me. I had to run and do something, but I'm good. What's going on, brother?
Nothing much, man. Taking it day by day, trying to absorb all the knowledge and prepare for what's to come, man. So see, I'm trying to put the knowledge out there to people that may not know some specific knowledge. So I wanted to talk to you about a specific historical person in history, man. Emperor Haile Selassie the First of Ethiopia and his queen, Empress Menen.
Yeah.
So, I grew up in the church. I still attend church. I'm active in the church. And it was just came on my heart that I wanted, an expert person like yourself that knows about His Majesty and Her Majesty to kind of like introduce people that may not know them. I heard about him when I was younger, mostly with the Rastas, people of the Caribbean. But that was about it. You would hear it in the music, the reggae music, Bob Marley, but nobody really gave a in-depth explanation of who he was and his big part in history, not only in Black history but also in world history. So I'm just going to just leave it open to you, man. I'm going to ask you some questions, and then I'm just going to let you roll like you usually do, the pro that you are.
Okay. All right. So you want to turn? Why don't we turn the camera? Why don't you turn your camera up to up weight so you'll be at the top and I'll be at the bottom. So turn your camera right there.
It's new to me, Pharaoh, so I got to figure this out. Let's see.
All you got to do is just turn your camera. You don't have to do anything. Just turn your camera. You have your camera sideways, right?
Yeah, so hold on.
You have your phone sideways, straight down. There you go.
Yeah, I got this little contraption. I got this new ring phone. I mean, this ring light, man. So
you don't have your Wi-Fi. Do you have your Wi-Fi on?
I have my phone hotspot on. That works better for me.
Okay, all right, cool.
Yeah, that works better for me.
You go. Now they can see us and we can read the chat. Okay.
There you go. Okay. All right. So yeah, just give us a breakdown of Emperor Haile Selassie the First and Empress Menen, and just their place in history.
Okay, you have any specific questions or specific you want to go? We can go through some questions. You can ask me different things and I'll go into it.
Yeah, so just talk about first. I guess we can start from here. Let's talk about his lineage, his Somali lineage that he basically proclaims his lineage from King Solomon and how that goes.
Right. Well, His Majesty is a direct descendant of King Solomon.
Okay.
Now, what a lot of people don't know is there's a lot of Ethiopians that are descendants of King Solomon.
Right.
Okay, and he's just one of these relatives,
Right.
and it's called Solomonic legend because, of course, anything with us they want to call it a legend or a myth.
Right.
And so the story goes that when Queen Sheba went to visit Solomon,
Right.
Solomon wanted to have sex with her.
Right.
She said, "No, I wouldn't have sex with you." He said, "I'll make a deal with you. As long as you don't drink any of my water, you don't have to have sex with me."
Right.
When it got time to eat, he made the food, he had his cooks made the food extra hot.
Right.
And so she had to drink the water, so they end up having sex.
Right.
When she got back to Africa, to Ethiopia, she had a baby named Menelik.
Mm.
And Menelik, when he got older, he went up to Israel and he stole the Ark of the Covenant.
Right.
And brought it back to Africa.
Right.
Now, the reason this was allowed to happen is because the lineage of the kings began to get defiled.
Mm.
David was doing all kind of strange things. Saul,
Right.
and then Solomon just got besides himself.
Right. Right.
Solomon
Right.
even worshiping strange gods and all of that.
Right.
And so the covenant of Israel was taken to Africa.
Okay.
And Menelik brought the Ark of the Covenant to Africa, and legend has it is that Solomon got his army together to go try to get it. And when Solomon got to Egypt, they said, he asked the Egyptians, he said, "Did you see anybody go through here with my ark?" And they said, "Yes, a man passed here on a magic carpet, and that he was going so fast that all the trees in Kemet laid to the side."
Wow. Okay.
Now, you got to know that Solomon was known for having magic carpets and really being on some high-tech technology and mysticism.
Right.
And Menelik, all his descendants in Ethiopia are direct descendants of King Solomon.
Okay.
And Haile Selassie is one of these descendants.
Gotcha.
Now, they made a lot of mock Ark of the Covenant so you couldn't find the real one.
Right.
So
Right. Right.
people think the real one is in Axum, but that's not the real one.
Right.
Nobody really knows where it's at.
Right.
And the main reason that the Jewish people, I call them Jewish because they wish they were the Jews.
Right.
The main reason the Jewish people don't want to teach that Haile Selassie is a descendant of King Solomon because Christ is a descendant of King Solomon and David.
Right.
And they know that if black people realize that black people would realize that Mary and Solomon and David and Saul, that they were all black.
Right. Right.
So this is why in African American history, two people that they never taught you about was Haile Selassie and Marcus Garvey.
Right. Right.
About T. Washington, George Washington Carver, Martin Luther King, all that, but no information on this black king,
Right.
King of Kings, that went to war with Ethiopia, with Italy, that started the Organization of African Unity. Even they talk about Malcolm X forming the Organization of African American Unity, they never mentioned that he got that from Haile Selassie. They leave that out.
Right.
Malcolm's organization was founded after the organization that Nkrumah and Haile Selassie started.
Okay.
So it's the OAU, and Malcolm had the OAAU.
Right.
They don't want you to know that because Haile Selassie was a hero to all of Africa for going up against a big military.
Right.
This is the first time in African history where an African nation went up against jet planes and tanks,
Right.
next level military.
Right.
So this is why this is hid from black people. They really don't want you to know your greatness.
Right.
And
Right.
that's the story of Emperor Haile Selassie, the King of Kings, the conquering lion of the tribe of Judah.
Right. Right. Right.
Mhm.
Yeah, and that was one of the things I wrote down. And even in my childhood, they never brought up Emperor Haile Selassie or Empress Menen at all.
Mhm.
Um, and he's up there with one of the greatest um, black people in history and greatest people in history that's never talked about on a large scale.
Yeah,
And mhm,
one of the greatest black leaders of all time. Uh,
right,
he
right,
formed the Organization of African Unity. All of your revolutionaries that got independence in Africa, he was their role model.
mm,
He gave his pistol to young Nelson Mandela.
right, okay, okay, okay,
Mandela, Nkrumah, Idi Amin, all
right,
their hero was Haile
right.
Selassie. So
Interesting,
when you look at
interesting.
all of those countries getting their independence
Right,
in the 60s and 70s, that was based on the motivation of Emperor Haile Selassie.
right, 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 right. I got you. So, kind of like in that same vein, um, I know I had heard from you speaking before about the speech he gave in Chicago. Give us a little bit of history on that speech that he gave in Chicago when he visited America.
When he came to Chicago, he went to see Ebony and Jet magazine, and he said, I am not just the king of Africa. I am the king of black people all over the world.
Right.
And it
Wow.
was very symbolic for him to say that here in Chicago.
Right.
Be
Right.
on Ebony and on Jet magazine. That was very symbolic.
Right. Right. Right.
You look at Emperor Haile Selassie, you will see him with all the leaders in the world. Now,
Right.
you got to note that when Italy invaded Ethiopia, Emperor
Right.
Haile Selassie went to the League of Nations
Okay.
to ask them to stop this big military from invading people that only had spears and horses and arrows. And
Right.
they booed him at the League of Nations.
Right.
And he said, you light the fire in Africa, but it shall burn Europe.
Mm.
So as time went, that war turned into World War II.
Right.
And
Right.
Hitler ended up killing a lot of white people.
Right.
Hitler ended up invading Poland, Russia, blowing up England. So when World War II was over, these white leaders got rid of the League of Nations,
Mm.
formed the United Nations.
Okay.
They invited Haile Selassie to the new United Nations, and 72 nations walked up to this black king and got on their knee and kissed his hand and asked for his forgiveness.
Wow.
Because his prophecy that you light the fire in Africa, but it shall
Right.
burn you, came true.
Right.
Because
Right.
Hitler ended up invading Europe, killing
Right.
Europeans. And
Right.
so people don't know that the United Nations was formed in his honor.
Right. Right.
That's a
And yeah,
fact.
if people do research on him. It's so many pictures of him. Like you see, like you said, meeting leaders all over the world. I see pictures of Kennedy, Robert Kennedy, Nixon. It's a bunch of leaders that he met just here in America, not to mention up in Europe when he was visiting Europe and all over Africa. So it's
Well,
just amazing his popularity that's kind of kept secret, you know?
the respect and the adoration for Haile Selassie wasn't planned,
Mm,
all a natural occurrence.
okay.
Marcus Garvey said, look to the east, where a black king shall be crowned, for the day of
Mm,
redemption is near. And after he said that, Emperor Haile Selassie got crowned.
right.
So his brothers in the Caribbean said, that must be who Marcus was talking about. So it's not like nobody planned this.
Right.
It was all a natural occurrence in the world. At that
Mm,
time, there were no rosters. There was
right.
different groups of blacks in the Caribbean. There was the
Okay.
Maroons and the Maroons and the natural men that had escaped slavery that lived in the hills.
Okay.
They had dreadlocks and ate off the fruits and stuff, and ate. They were basically plant-based.
Okay.
Then you had Garveyites
Okay.
that were all over the place preaching back to Africa. And then you had these brothers that were black that were these religious experts that knew the total Bible.
Okay.
And so when Haile Selassie was crowned, those three entities came together.
Okay.
Because the Garveyites said, okay, this is the man.
Right.
And the religious brothers knew the Bible that explained the ones in the hills. So the
Okay.
one the book said that hair y'all got, that's in Numbers chapter 6. So they was able to, the people that knew the Bible was able to look at the ones in the hills with their hair and was able to identify them in the book and
Right.
say, that's the vow of the Nazarite. So it
Right.
was spontaneous combustion of Garveyites, of these natural people in the hills, and of these religious people, and you got Rasta.
Gotcha.
It wasn't planned. It wasn't planned. It was all natural. It was all organic.
Right. 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 So going forward with that, speak on his coronation and how unique that was. You know, we always hear of kings being crowned, but Emperor Haile Selassie and Empress Menen's coronation was very unique. Can you speak on that a little bit?
Right, because the white people knew who he was. So
Okay.
these people gave him all the Lion of Judah artifacts. They're like, here, these
Right.
are yours. And when he was crowned, he was the only African king that actually got crowned with his wife sitting next to him.
Right.
He was the only king that didn't have any concubines and
Right.
only one wife.
Right.
And she was looked at, she was called, he was the king of kings. But this is the interesting part. She was not the queen of queens.
Right.
She was the queen of kings.
Very interesting.
Very interesting. So he was the king of kings, and she was the queen of kings. So
Right.
this is really royalty showing the black family. Now,
Right.
what's interesting is why did all these white people run to take a picture of this man?
Right. Right.
Way back in the 30s and the 40s. Why did they find him so interesting?
Right. Right.
This
Right.
is what they don't want a lot of black people to know.
Right. Right.
Because Ethiopia is the oldest Christian nation on earth. So when these fake conscious people say the white man brought us Christianity, them niggas don't know what they talking about.
Right.
Original Christianity. And
Right.
white took it from us and defiled it and made it some weirdo stuff.
Right.
But we was doing that way before them.
Right. Right.
The description of Christ is skin of burnt bronze and hair like wool.
Right.
That
Right.
is not a white man.
Right. Right. Right.
Okay.
Right.
And
Right.
so people don't know. The disciples that was with Christ, they were supposed to go out and teach people how to heal, how to walk on water, how to use your God side of your brain.
Right.
And the first person that they taught was an Ethiopian.
Right.
And that Ethiopian went back and told Queen Candake, and Queen Candake declared her whole country under this new teaching.
Right.
And so when you see these fake black scholars trying to say that white people brought us Christianity, they don't know what the hell they talking about.
Right. Right.
This is before Constantine. Ain't
Right.
no Constantine yet.
Right.
We were Christians, and we was doing that. We was following the Christ before it was even called Christianity.
Right.
See, what people don't understand, it was not called Christianity.
Right.
It was just the teachings of a brother.
Right.
And the Bible shows you racial discrimination and hate. When Christ's mother couldn't get a hotel.
Right.
She
Right.
had that baby in a barn.
Right.
If that ain't a black woman, what is?
Right. Right.
Facts.
Right.
You
Right.
give me your scholars. I'll chew them up. Because
Right.
most of them are antichrists, teaching
Mm.
people that the Bible is no good at a time when we in the book of Revelation.
Right.
So it's
Right.
very interesting they're on Side TV fighting against the Bible and getting black people not to look at the book of Revelation
Right.
and questioning everything but the prophecy.
Right.
None of
Right.
your scholars will challenge me on the prophecy.
Right.
The book
Right.
says in the last days, men will look like women and women will look like men. True or false? I don't want to talk a lot of jibber jabber. True
Right.
or false? The
Right.
Bible says in the last days, you won't have cash. You will
Right.
be a cashless society. What
Right.
is Uber and Lyft? Cash.
Cashless. Right.
True or false? All
Right.
right. So the prophecies is true.
Right.
And all you black people that's going against the Bible, y'all stupid and y'all some losers and y'all going against something that black people wrote
Right.
because Constantine was black.
Right.
The people that he summons were Kemetic Coptics.
Mm.
Yeah. Who
Right.
wants smoke? It was black people that went, and Constantine was black.
Mm.
That is a
Yeah.
fact. Constantine is black. Go search Constantine coin, and you're going to see a coin of Constantine, and he is a black man.
Wow. Wow.
Facts.
Yeah, it's a lot of knowledge out there that if you don't dig deep for the knowledge, you're not gonna find it.
Well,
And if you got preconceived notions, you're gonna miss it.
all you have to read is in the last days, they're going to be false prophets.
Right.
Real.
Right.
So give me your
Right.
scholar and let me prove he's not a false prophet and why I shouldn't drive a stake through his heart. Why he tell black people to turn away at a time when we in the cashless society in the mark of the beast. We are
Right.
in the book of Revelation right now.
Exactly. We are. We are.
Facts. And they
Yeah.
force you to take the jab,
Right.
force you to take the microchip.
Right.
Fact.
Right. Right. I found it interesting, and I really didn't plan this. You know, me and you had talked earlier, and today is supposed to be Halloween, and I found it very fitting for the day that we're talking about a righteous person, righteous people, Emperor Haile Selassie and Empress Menen on this day. So I find it. We even fighting against the evil in our speech right now. So it was a good thing.
Something. And I don't want nobody to come at me like I'm no Christian.
Right.
I came in this Kemetic. I'm Kemetic. My name is Pharaoh Ramesses Elaton.
Right.
I was a musician and I was a vegan and I roster at a health food store and he had these flyers to go see this band. And they all dreadlocks because we was Kemetic with our dreadlocks because there's dreadlocks in the Pipers of Ani.
Right.
So, and our dreadlocks in honor of Kemet.
Right.
And so his brother had a flyer with some brothers on dreadlocks. I didn't know nothing about reggae. I went to see this reggae band. Through seeing them twice, I met this brother. He found out I was a musician. He wanted me to come to help his brothers learn how to play music. And his young brothers in high school came to me and showed me pictures of Haile Selassie. Ramesses, what you know about this man right here?
Right.
So I took the knowledge and went home and studied it on my own.
Right. Right.
That Haile Selassie, he fit all the descriptions of a pharaoh.
Right.
He had the crown, he had the triple crown.
Right.
And Kemet, we have two single crowns and a double crown. He
Right.
had the crown. He had the sword, the Excalibur. Scepter with the world in it. He got the whole world in his hand. So I looked at him. I knew he was a pharaoh.
Right. Right. Right.
I
Right.
knew who it was based on that. If you on this internet watching me, the question becomes why it wasn't you.
Right.
On in Ethiopia at that time to get that title.
Right.
And so what places a man to be born at the right time to get a certain title and for
Right.
people to adorn him? He can't make that happen.
Right.
All life can make him.
Right.
Nobody can make Haile Selassie. Nobody can make him be on that throne at that particular time.
Right.
Nobody
Right.
can do that.
Right.
So I looked at it like, well, it's not me on the throne.
Right.
So this dude got to be somebody special because I
Right.
believe time places you somewhere at the particular time.
Right.
Now, how I justify his divinity is I always judge a man against his contemporaries.
Mm.
And so if you look at Hitler, he would be the closest thing to the devil.
Right.
So the fact His Majesty is on the throne at the same time as Hitler, he got to be opposite of the closest thing to the devil.
Right.
So he's got to be the closest thing to God.
Right.
Because why would he be born at a time to go at Hitler, Stalin,
Right.
Churchill, and some of the most evil people in history?
Right.
As a matter of fact, Hitler's room was directly across from his at the League of Nations.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, yeah.
Deep.
And Hitler knew who he was.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
So Hitler went to Egypt and they manipulated dumbass, the Italian leader.
Mussolini.
They had him go to Ethiopia.
Right.
He went to Ethiopia, and when His Majesty went to England, the nature beat the Italians.
Right. Right.
He didn't beat the Italians. The mosquitoes killed them. The bugs, the ants ate them. The sun killed them. So
Wow.
nature killed all those Italians. When Mussolini went back to Italy, they beat him. The Italians beat him and stripped his skin off of him and hung him.
Right. Yeah.
Because all they people they lost and didn't even lose them to war.
Right.
Lost
Right.
the power of the Most High.
Right.
The
Right.
system gonna fall from earthquake,
Right.
light, brimstone, and fire, water everywhere. All the volcanoes going off. I know a lot of people y'all not looking.
Right.
Volcanoes going off. The water's acting mad crazy.
Yep.
They can't put no fires out in California.
Yep. People
Drowning all over the world. The ocean levels is rising. The lake and the sea levels are rising. There's so many volcanoes going off, they're not going to tell you.
No. Nope. They're not. It's too much.
Much they don't want to tell you. Not to mention the pestilence and plagues and the pandemics. That's a curse on you because you consume so many dead animals and so much wickedness and so much fornication.
Right.
Why you got these conscious people like Sarnetta on there speaking against the Bible, while his H. Boone Coon Polite is a pedophile and a sinner.
Wow.
Who wants So how could he speak against the Bible when his boy is messing with kids?
Right. Right.
Very interesting. Very interesting.
It's a great unveiling. Look, I just wanted the people to, if they haven't seen it, I got a picture. It's not too bad, but I wanted them to see this. Hope they can see it. That's Emperor Haile Selassie the First, for being all adorned, and then you have Empress Menen.
Yeah.
And like Brother Pharaoh said, they were crowned both at the same time, which is very unique and interesting and righteous.
If you go and look at lots of pictures of Haile Selassie, you're going to see his skin color change.
Yes. Yeah, that's not a true complexion right there. No.
He's dark as me and the brother.
Right.
Don't see him white. But you got to understand, white people took these pictures.
Right.
So what they did was they lightened them up in the pictures.
Right. Right.
They lightened them up so you wouldn't see it's a black man. But go keep looking at pictures and you're going to see pictures and wait a minute. And when you put
Right.
the pictures, he gonna be the brother's complexion in one picture, and they gonna have him looking like a white man in other pictures because they took the pictures.
Right. Hold on, Pharaoh. I got another book where we can demonstrate that.
Mhm. So yeah, it's real. You know what I mean? It's not no religious. This is not no religious conversation.
So
Yep.
there, you see, he's darker. He's darker
Yeah.
and a little bit older there.
Yeah.
So yeah. The complexions are crazy how they're lightening them up.
Pictures of him darker than that with afro.
Right. Exactly.
So
Exactly.
you gotta search those though,
Right.
because they also have a picture with him standing with 12 African kings.
Right.
And in most pictures, it's only going to show 11 because it was too symbolic to Christ. So
Right.
I want to have like a Christ with the 12 disciples, so they cut one out. But if
Right.
you go to my Instagram when this is done, I'm going to post the one with all 13 of them. And
Okay.
you see him standing with 12 disciples, with 12 African kings, and he's number 13. All of these things were done way before black people was pushing religion like they are now.
Right. Right.
And religion, because this was done in the 20s, in the 30s, in the 40s. We wasn't even pushing religion like that.
Right. Right.
These are ancient things that happen that
Right.
they want you to know because they don't want you to know your own glory.
Right. Right. Right.
They want you to know you're the chosen people.
Right. Right. Right.
They want you to know that the Hebrew Israelites and the Ethiopians and the Egyptians are all the same people.
Right. Right.
They're trying to make you think there's a difference between Shemites and Hamites.
Right.
That's nonsense
Right.
because Ham had a baby by a Hamite. Moses married an Ethiopian.
Right.
And all the time that the Hebrews was in Kemet, who believed they wasn't having sex?
Right.
Only a
And we
fool.
were all intertwined with Egypt from the beginning. From the
When
beginning.
Mary was told that the white king wanted to kill her baby,
Right.
to Kemet to hide, how can a Hebrew Israelite hide in Kemet unless they look the same?
Right. Right.
How he can hide
You can't.
unless he looks like them?
Right.
Stand with us.
Right. Right.
Because
Right.
skin complexion is not based on Shemite or Hamite. Our
Right.
skin complexion is based on who's close to the equator and who's not.
Right.
You go to Africa or South America or even the United States, baby.
Right.
If you come and see me in Chicago, I'm lighter than I am when I'm in Alabama visiting my relatives.
Exactly.
Alabama and stay for 3 months and come back, I'm 2 shades darker.
Right.
All people should know this by now.
Right.
You go to Mississippi and Alabama in the summertime right now and stay 3 weeks,
Right.
even 2 weeks, you're going to come back to Chicago darker.
Wow.
We even get darker in the summertime and we
Right.
light in the winter.
Right. Right.
Facts. We get blotches on our skin where certain parts lighten up quicker than the other part.
Right. Body trying to adapt. Right.
Trying to-
Right. Right. Right.
Mhm.
So let me talk about this. Let's talk about how Emperor Haile Selassie pushed the true teachings of Christ. Why do you think he did that?
The reason people say that Haile Selassie is God Almighty, and people say, well, say he's God Almighty, why would he worship Christ?
Right.
What you have to understand, if you're into mysticism, that
Mm.
Christ was the favorite in all of the kingdom.
Right.
All of the gods and all of the Lord gods and all of the angels loved Christ
Right.
because Christ was the only one that could take a lot of shit.
Right.
That's why they call him the Lamb.
Right.
Anybody else that had those kind of powers, like me, if I had them kind of powers, and you tried to nail me to a cross, I would have struck somebody with lightning. Everybody,
Right.
And so
Right.
his patience and his ability not to use his extraterrestrial powers under certain circumstances made him who it is. The
Mm,
preachers tell you the real story. The real story of Christ was the reason the white people nailed him to the cross because he was known for doing miracles.
right.
They wanted to force him to do miracles.
Mm,
So they nailed him to the cross and they said, let's see you get down now.
right. Right.
They wanted to see him do miracles, but his mission was to only do miracles when he feel like it.
Right.
So
Right.
you missing the story where you got to understand the Romans wanted to see him do miracles, but what he did was die and
Mm,
then got up on his own.
right.
It was a
Right.
level.
Right.
So when he died, like, he wasn't nothing. But next
Right.
thing you heard stories, that dude was walking around. Now, mind you, there's a lot of years he was missing.
Right.
If you did your research, you would know he was in Asia and India.
Mm,
If you did your research, you would know that Buddha is black.
right. Right.
And you would know that Buddha took everything to Asia, what became Hinduism and Krishna,
Okay.
out of racism.
Mm,
Raced black Buddhism and replaced it with a European Asian Hinduism and Krishna.
mm,
This is why they got Krishna blue, because they don't want to make the nigga black.
right. Right.
So the question is he Buddha?
Right.
Because
Right.
because when you talk about religion, the most statues in the world is the black Buddha.
This is true. This is true.
And the Buddha got nappy hair of wool
Right.
and skin of burnt bronze.
Right. And they even have a bunch of the statues of him. They're bronze
Yeah, the
or
Nani,
black. Right.
Nigus,
Right. Right.
the Negus.
Right. Right.
Empress Selassie is the Negus.
Right.
People say, oh, nigga, well, what is Niger? What is Nigeria?
Right.
It's the nigga area.
Right.
Nigeria. Duh. Hello. Hello.
Right. Right. Right.
The niggas.
Right. Right. There's
The
all connected.
niggas. First off, let's deal with that and we'll get back to this.
Okay. Okay.
When the white man called you nigger, that was out, he was unintelligent. That was not an offensive word.
Okay.
When he called you nigger, he was trying to say el negro. And so
Okay.
America is el negro.
Okay.
You know the history, white people didn't originally call you nigger. He called you nigress.
Right. I remember the older people saying that.
He called you nigress.
Right.
Trying to say negro.
Right.
We said, don't call me no nigger.
Right.
And you know, if you go to school and I call you Pumpkinhead, and you say, don't call me Pumpkinhead, your name gonna be Pumpkinhead. So once we said, don't call me nigger, they was like, nigger, 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 right?
Right.
But
Right.
it was negro, el negro.
Right.
White people was unintelligent and didn't have no knowledge. They said nigress.
Right.
They was trying to say negro.
Right.
But they said nigress.
Wow.
And we said nigger because West Africans was called niggers.
Okay.
Black people that was sent over here are from East Africa.
Right.
You will have West African blood because the amount of times you were raped in West Africa before you were sent here. But they walked us across Timbuktu like that and sold us.
Okay.
And so the slaves and the descendants of slaves over here didn't really like West Africans.
Okay.
And so when you see some of this hate from the Nigerians and stuff, It ain't because you're not African. They know you East African.
I got you. I
And
got you.
African, you'll never see Ethiopians and Nigerians speak to each other. Never.
Right, right, right. And I've
That.
noticed too, just in my travels, especially up in the DC area, you have a big population of Ethiopians.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're not careful, you wouldn't know them. You can tell if you look very closely, but if you're not careful, you would kind of like mistake them for us.
They are us. And also, General Ganj invaded India, and they're Ethiopian.
Mm,
River is named after Ethiopia. And you have black Indians there. And so, like I said, when they took Buddhism and changed it to Hinduism and Krishna, that's when India came up with the caste system and said the black ones were the untouchables.
right,
So when
right,
you look at America, you don't see many of the black looking Indians. You see all the European Indians and
right,
European Asians.
right,
In my Instagram, and I got a picture up there now of all the black Indians, black Asians, black Australians, black Polynesians, because we were all over the world because we were sailing the world when they was still up in the Caucasus Mountains.
right, 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 right,
And so
right,
Empress Selassie is a sign. Emperor Haile Selassie is a way for you to stamp where you are in history. That's all it is.
right,
Way for you to mark where you are in history. And I'll go a step further. If it wasn't for Emperor Haile Selassie fighting against Italy, all of Africa right now would be white.
wow,
It was that war the Most High came to the planet in the form of Emperor Haile Selassie to
right,
the Europeans long enough for the Nkrumahs and the Idi Amins to come to strengthen Africa. That stalled them long enough
right,
for to take the motherland. Take
wow,
away that war, because Mussolini said Ethiopia is Italiano.
right, right,
If it wasn't for that war, and black people must know that World War II did not start when Japan and America.
no,
World War II started when Italy invaded Ethiopia.
right, right,
Facts. Ethiopia is the mother of Kemet.
right, right,
Kemet, the city, and Ethiopia was the country. Furthermore, in between the New Testament and the Old Testament, there's books there that you haven't read.
right,
In the Maccabee,
right,
get the Apocrypha and read the books of the Maccabee.
right,
And from the end of the New Testament to the beginning, from the end of the Old Testament to the beginning of the New Testament, all black people was fighting against whites.
right,
The Hebrews, the Egyptians, the Nubians, the Ethiopians, we were all together fighting the whites.
right,
There's reason that's not in any of the scriptures.
right, right,
This is why you have Islam, Judaism, and Christianity in Ethiopia.
right,
Furthermore, a certain segment of Islam is black.
right,
And this is why ISIS is trying to kill the black. So you got Sunni and Shia.
right,
One is black and one is white.
wow,
And that's the secret behind that. Because
wow.
Muhammad's grandfather was an Ethiopian.
So while you going down that line, speak on it. And if I'm not mistaken, wasn't Empress Menen bloodline? She had
Muhammad.
Islam her bloodline.
Muhammad. She's a descendant
Right.
of Muhammad.
Wow. So it's so many connections there, man. It's amazing.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I think it's the Shia that's
Right.
black.
Right. 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 Right.
I think it's the Shia that's black, and the Sunnis trying to wipe out the black ones. So
Right.
ISIS is trying to destroy all the black Islamic statues. Any
Wow.
proof any African or Kemetic or Ethiopian proof of Islam.
Right.
Because
Right.
it was not brought to Africa by Muhammad. Islam was brought to Africa by Belial.
Right.
That's why the old Elijah and them called themselves Balalian.
Mm.
Elijah
See?
Muhammad called themselves Balalian. Belial was black.
Wow.
And he bought that. And the black stone was marked the territory for Ethiopia.
Right.
And them white Arabs took the black stone and put it in that thing that they marked them around. That stone in there is ours.
Wow.
And that stone is Allah.
Wow.
What is Allah is in that box that they marching around. Why is they praying around that box?
Right. Right.
What's the box? Allah in there. No disrespect, but Allah is a rock. Stolen.
Wow.
Facts.
Deep. Deep.
Facts. No disrespect to the Muslims, but all
Right.
that and your building that they built it, all of that was taken off the side of the pyramids.
Wow.
That box in Mecca, all that stone used to cover the pyramids, and they still have the marks where they drug it out of the water to Mecca.
Wow.
Those drag marks are still there. Those pyramids was covered with those black stones that's on that box in Mecca.
Right.
And it was them white Arabs that raided Kemet and stole everything.
Wow.
The tombs and everything. They the tomb robbers. They were the original tomb robbers.
Right. Which is still happening now, digging
Yeah.
up our ancestors and everything, man.
In Egypt now, it looked like a hellhole. There's garbage everywhere and everything. They're in the holy city of Egypt, ruining it, destroying it.
Right.
Trying to
Right.
turn it to Islamic when it's not.
Right. Right. Right.
Egypt, Islamic, we before our religions. We before Christianity, Islam, and all that. All that is one. And they
Right.
took religions and broke them up and put a part over here and a part over there and a part over there to make you all fight over nonsense.
Mm. Mm.
Read Dr. Ben's The African Origin of the Three Major Western Religions. You must read that book.
Right.
The
Right.
African Origin of the Three Major Western Religions.
Right.
Gave birth to three generations. We the great grandfather. The
Right.
grand is Judaism.
Right.
The son is Christianity.
Right.
And maybe is Islam.
Is Islam. Right.
That's a fact.
Yep. Which comes out of Ishmael.
Comes from Ishmael. Exactly.
Right.
It's all
Right.
one. It's all one.
Right. 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 Deep, brother. This is very deep, man. I knew we were gonna dive deep with this subject, man, because everything is so connected. And it goes back to again, Emperor Haile Selassie, his connection with the Bible and everything, man. It's just amazing how we should be looking up to him, and like you said, bringing this information to our children. Obama was a modern president, black president, with his wife and his children. We saw that. But before them, we would always talk about kings and queens in Africa, but they were so far back, so you really couldn't connect with them. You couldn't relate to them. But we have somebody that was here in the recent history that had a great perspective and great respect throughout the world. And we need to let the children know about this great family and what they did for the black world and for the globe. So
Now, the reason people knew who he was is the church knew who he was.
mm-hmm.
It was pictures that they won't show you now of Solomon, of David, and he looks exactly like him. Mind you, Christ looked exactly like David. And
Right.
when he walked around, everybody called him David.
Yep. They thought he was David.
There's a sword called an Excalibur.
Okay.
And you're the King of Kings and you have the holy power from the Most High, and know that black people, our king was always God.
Right.
Have the power of the Most High, you have this sword.
Mm.
And now, when you leave the presence of the people, you take this sword and you stick it in this boulder.
Okay.
And no man can remove that sword from that boulder until that holy king returns.
Mm.
And so they won't show you where this boulder's at, about that the Excalibur, but
Right.
they write stories of it. King Arthur
Right.
pulled this sword out of this boulder.
Right.
So when you see His Majesty with that sword, see, I knew what I was looking at. And so
Right.
the holy men at the church knew who he was.
Right.
Us Rastas, we didn't know who he was.
Right.
The Marcus Garvey helped us know who he was. But
Right.
Marcus Garvey did not know what he was prophesying, because
Mm.
Garvey said, look to the east, where a black king shall be crowned, for the day of redemption is near. He was talking about himself.
Right. Right. Right.
And that's why he had some jealousy of Emperor Haile Selassie, because when Haile Selassie got crowned, everybody said, there you go, and then Marcus didn't like that.
Mm.
But the Most High would use you for the works to be done, and the works are stronger than you.
Right.
So the works are stronger than me. The works are stronger than Bob Marley. Bob Marley could not keep up with his prophetic side.
Right.
You'll be immortal. You still gonna do mortal stuff.
Right.
But you get possessed with righteousness, and you do these righteous works, but you just still be a man.
Right. Exactly. Yep. And you see that all through the scripture where you fall, some of them failed and did things wrong, which we all do. But like you said, they still, for the most part, kept up with their mission and, completed their mission. So, yeah, this is
So
true. This is true.
black man, with my dreadlocks and my Kemetic name, when somebody showed me Haile Selassie, I already knew. Because
Right.
I don't know about him.
Right.
Anytime you try to hide something from me, try
Right.
to veganism from me, plant-based food, Haile Selassie, Marcus Garvey, I already know they the one. So right off the top, I said, oh yeah, he the man. Well, I don't know about him.
Right. Exactly.
What's the big secret?
Right. Right.
What's the secret?
Right.
And so
Right.
many religions get mad because they try to make it a religious war.
Right.
But that's not what this is.
Right.
This is prophecy. And no man can deny that since His Majesty on the throne, we have gone into the last days.
Yeah.
Now, I can't talk about this without naming the number 2 greatest man,
Uh-oh.
the Honorable Elijah Muhammad.
Okay. Okay.
Is number 2.
Right.
His job was to let you know that the black man and black woman is God and goddesses. And
Okay.
you are the mother and father of Islam.
Okay.
And to bring the knowledge of Yaqub and the fact that there's life inside of the earth.
Right.
You really got it. They don't want you to study him too much either.
Right.
Because you read these stories of Moses going up the mountain to see the Lord God. Where did the Lord God come from?
Right.
Not out the sky, but out the secret passageway in these mountains. Now,
Right.
there is a kingdom inside of the earth. But
Mm.
there was a Pangea, all the planets all the continents were together and they broke and they floated apart.
Right.
All the continents are floating except Africa.
Okay.
Africa is the only landmass connected to the center of the earth.
Right.
There is a kingdom in the center of the earth. The only way you can get there is in Africa.
Wow.
Under all these other land masses is just water.
Right. Right.
These land masses are not directly connected.
Right.
And there are certain places where the lava shoots up and creates land,
Right.
like Hawaii.
Right.
So it's connected from the lava in the ocean shooting up. But the
Right.
central landmass of the world is Africa.
Africa. Right.
If there was a Noah, and if there was a Noah that had all the animals on the ark, the nigga had to land in Africa.
Right.
Ain't over here, ain't no giraffes over here.
No.
All the animals you see in Africa, they are nowhere else in the world. No
Right.
in the world has the huge species of animals that Africa has.
Right.
Africa ain't got no giraffes and
No.
gorillas and stuff. So from that alone, we know that Africa is a holy place.
Right. Right.
Mount Zion is still in Africa. Mount
Mm.
Olympus, that the Greeks talked Mount Olympus, was in
Right.
Africa. Mount Sinai is still in Africa.
Wow. Wow.
Facts.
So, and you can tell, like you said, just going back to the animals, if you look at it, and this is just my theory, it looks like all the animals from the other places derived from those animals in Africa.
They did.
Like
When
the
the
derivatives.
continents broke apart, people and animals floated.
Right.
Okay? You look at the Tower of Babel,
Right.
they were trying to build the tower up as big as it can.
Right.
Supposedly, God said, I'm going to split y'all up,
Right.
talk different languages, and the Tower of Babel fell.
Right.
Because when it fell, it cracked the planet and people floated. And then that prophecy of you being different colors and different shades
Right.
came. And
Right.
so that was bears. But when they floated, that's when they became black bears and brown bears and polar bears.
Polar bears. Right.
That's when
Right.
they became white, when they
Right.
floated up to the cold climate.
Right.
It
Right.
became reddish color or a brownish color or a darker black or a lighter black.
Right.
When it broke, and you can
Right.
see the continents fit together. You can go look at any map of the Pangea. You can see South America fits right there under Africa, clear as day.
Exactly. Exactly. I was reading scripture this morning, and it says in the scripture also that Christ was in the earth, in the center of the earth for 3 days.
Exactly.
So
Now,
again, the reference of in the inside the earth.
yeah, the Egyptians taught the underworld.
Right.
Now, here is the key.
Mm-hmm.
Religion is not the reason religion is taught wrong to black people, because religion is not for you to look back. So the reason black people are resenting religion because you don't know what it's for. The Bible, the Quran, and all that is not for you to look back.
Okay.
It's for you to know who you are now. And
Yeah.
this is what's going on.
Okay.
They want you to know who you are now.
Right.
I want you to put two and two together and say, they keep saying, the government saying it's aliens.
Right.
And is angels aliens?
Right.
See, they want you to see, one man will call something an angel, but another man will call it an alien. Well,
Right.
NASA and them know that.
Right.
But they want you all to know that.
Right.
You
Right.
say the angels came down, and then you watch, the UFO shows and all that,
Right.
and then you go, wow, are angels aliens now?
Right.
Because the scriptures say the chariots of God are 20,000.
Right.
Wait a minute. So what was George Clinton talk about the mothership connection? What was Rod talking about? Like, what's really going on? So they don't want black people to be awakened of your greatness.
Right.
They have false prophets out here telling you to look at Abraham and look at Isaac and look back.
Right.
But the real thing is you're supposed to look at yourself now.
Right. Right.
Who now? Doesn't matter what happened 2,000 years ago.
Right. Right.
Who
Right.
are you?
Right.
Reaching your full potential?
Right.
Are you the descendants of all these holy men and holy women? Because
Right.
a lot of holy women in all these different scriptures,
Right.
but they hate women, so they don't teach the women of their holiness.
Right.
Mary was a better healer than Christ.
Wow.
Mary healed way more people than Christ.
Wow.
This is why all over the world they worship the Black Madonna.
Right.
You
Right.
think the Black woman to learn about the Black Madonna?
Right.
So they got you with looking at a white Jesus, but in the basement of the Vatican, they got a Black Mary and Jesus. They got
Right.
Black.
Right. Right. Right.
All up in Europe, they got Black Mary and Jesus in them churches.
Right.
Philippines, they got a Black. They picked the blackest Filipino to be Christ every Easter.
Right. Right.
They wear black Madonna earrings.
Mm. Wow.
So singing Madonna, she was defiling the Black woman.
Wow.
Madonna was defiling the holy woman, because you got to understand, Madonna was singing like a virgin. But
Wow.
that when Mary was pregnant with the Black Christ, Joseph thought she was cheating.
Right.
How did Joseph realize she wasn't cheating? And how did the wise man know that that baby came from God?
Mm.
Because that baby, when that baby came out, that baby didn't have no umbilical cord attached to it.
Wow.
That baby didn't have a navel. So when she had the baby and the baby didn't have no umbilical cord, they knew, how was this baby eating?
Right. Right.
That's when Joseph said, oh, she not lying.
Right. Right.
This baby is from God. This baby ain't got no navel.
Right.
So this holy men had to gird their loins, and this is why Luciferians want you all to get naked, because they are looking for these certain species around here that do not have a navel.
Right.
Melchizedek doesn't have a navel either.
Right.
And there's a few beings around here that do not have navels.
Right.
So they get everybody naked for these holy ones.
Wow. 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 That's deep, bro. That's deep. That's deep.
Yeah.
So anything else you want to bring out to a person that's never heard of Empress Menen and Emperor Haile Selassie? Any closing words, man, that you would just like the people to know?
I would advise you all to study it with an open mind and look at it yourself. That's what I would advise you to do. I would advise you to look at those things with an open mind.
Right.
Advise you, because I was fortunate. So everybody, I was picked.
Right.
When I got to LA and I left here on my way to Africa, I met a brother, Isaac Selassie, and he was raised by Haile Selassie.
Okay.
Because his mother passed away, so his father was there, and Haile Selassie actually raised this young man.
Right.
So he's seen His Majesty for real personally.
Wow.
So me of all the wondrous miracles. They said His Majesty was dead 3 times. He wasn't. Musa was dead, and His Majesty said, why don't you get your sword and my sword? Why don't we fight? Why we got to have a war?
Right.
Why don't me and you fight? Mussolini punked out.
Wow. So it's been a fight with Italy and Ethiopia for a long time.
Right, because black people ask me this. If Ethiopia is the oldest Christian nation on earth, why would Rome, a Christian nation, invade the oldest Christian nation on earth?
Wow.
And the Pope kissed the planes and blessed the planes that went and bombed little children and bombed mothers. And they grabbed the priest and was throwing the holy priest in Ethiopia out of planes.
Wow.
Why would Rome attack a Christian? Because Ethiopia is the oldest Christian nation on earth. And
Right.
they want to establish Rome.
Right.
But Rome is built on Peter.
Right.
But Peter is Satan.
Right.
Christ told Peter, "Get thee behind me, Satan."
Mm.
Eat with whites or mess with Gentiles. But when the Christ left, Peter said he had a vision, and God told him it's all right for us to eat pork and hang out with white people.
Oh, wow.
And Peter was the one, not Constantine.
Right. Right.
Give me your best scholar.
Right.
Was the one that built the modern day Christianity for the Romans.
Right. Right.
Because the Romans didn't have a religion.
Right.
To compete with the Greeks.
Right.
And so when you see these people that practice witchcraft, many of them are going to have a cross on with a question mark upside down.
Right.
That is the symbol of Peter. Because Peter was crucified upside down.
Upside down. Right.
And these white people took Peter and built a religion and built a statue of Peter, but it ain't even Peter.
Right.
Peter was black. So
Right.
they statue of Jupiter, and they calling the statue of Jupiter Peter.
Right.
And they got people rubbing and kissing the foot of what they think is Peter, but that's Jupiter.
Right.
Peter was black.
Right. Right. Right.
The disciples was all black.
Right. Right. Right.
And I'm going to end with this to say, when you read the New Testament, black people,
Right.
you are reading the invasion, the beginning of the invasion of Africa.
Mm.
Because here's Africa and
Right.
here's Israel. And if the Romans want to come down and kill the Africans, they got to kill the black people north of Africa first.
Right.
So when you read of this persecution and nailing people to the cross,
Right.
that on their way to Africa. They killed the black people north of Africa. And
Okay.
they were nailing themselves to the cross.
Right.
The Danes practiced that. And when the Danes was at war with the British, the Danes were nailing the British to the cross because England was worshiping a black Christ.
Wow.
England was worshiping black Christianity. That's why they was vegans and wouldn't eat meat.
Right.
The Danes came down and said, y'all worshiping a nigger.
Right.
And
Right.
they started nailing them to, since y'all love this nigger on this cross, they started nailing white British on crosses.
Wow.
So Rome and Spain and all them started adapting that practice. So when they came down, they nailed black people to crosses because they used to nail their own people to crosses.
Something they've been doing the whole time.
Because the cross is not a holy symbol.
Right.
The cross
Right.
is the symbol of death.
Right.
They shot Malcolm X with a gun. Should we wear guns around our neck?
No. No.
If you ain't nailed a brother to a cross, why would you wear a cross?
Right. Right.
The cross, if you pick it up and sharpen the bottom, is a sword.
Is a sword. Right. Right.
The symbol of life is the ankh and what they call the swastika.
Right. Right.
All of that comes from Africa.
Right. And if people look up, because I didn't know this until probably about 3 or 4 years ago, King Hezekiah's seal has the ankh, has 2 ankhs on there and several symbols of Egypt in there.
Yeah.
So we've always, the Hebrew Israelites, the Egyptians, the Kemetic people, we've always been intermixed, and we've always we're in and out of each other's nations. So there's no separation there.
As a matter of fact, legend has it that
Uh-oh.
that Akhenaten was Moses.
Ah,
And Akhenaten's mother was Joseph's sister.
wow.
And Amenhotep got this Hebrew woman pregnant, and many of the Egyptians hated the idea. So Amenhotep hid Akhenaten and built a city just for him and his mother to hide.
Wow.
And when the baby grew up, because Akhenaten's mother was a Hebrew Israelite, she taught Akhenaten the ideology of one God. And so when Akhenaten became Pharaoh, that's why he destroyed the temples and came out with the Atan and said it's one God for everybody, just like the sun shines on everybody.
Right.
Atan's sun don't mean he was worshiping the sun. That was a symbol that the way that the sun shines on everybody is the way that God is for everybody, and that you don't need to go to a priest or to a church or to a synagogue or to a mosque to deal with God.
Right.
You deal with God directly.
Right. Right.
They didn't like that because in Kemet, in Islam, in Judaism and Christianity, they want you to go through the priest
Right.
to get to God. But
Right.
fuck the priest. We
Right.
can get to God directly.
Right.
Need nobody.
Right. Right.
And I'm saying this by saying this. In the beginning, it was this spirit, like
Mm-hmm.
this soul. And this soul became flesh
Right.
and woman. And when this soul became flesh, this flesh of this soul said, I like this. Let
Right.
us make man in our image, male and female.
Right.
And this new physical beings, male and female, made a bunch of males and females,
Mm.
these Lord gods. And
Right.
one of those Lord gods went and formed a man from the dirt and then did surgery and did scientific experimentation and took the ribs and made a woman.
Right.
And when that woman and that man that they call Adam and Eve had babies, these sons of God liked them and slept with these babies.
Right.
And when these sons of God slept with the daughters of men, they had giants on the earth, including Noah.
Right.
And then everything had to get wiped out because it was too crazy, because it was too much evil going on. And the only ones allowed to survive was these half God, half men,
Right.
half goddess, half women, which is you all,
Right.
which means that the Son of God is your father.
Mm.
The daughter of God is your mother.
Mm.
And God is your grandfather.
Wow.
So
Wow.
God and his wife is our grandfather and
Right.
our grandmother.
Right.
And because you have God, and then you got the sons and daughters of God, and then you got us,
Right.
certain angels got pissed
Right.
because they were already behind God, and
Right.
then angels was already behind the sons and daughters of God. So now when the sons of God slept with the daughters of men and had y'all, Lucifer said, fuck this, man. I
Right.
don't want to be fourth.
Right. Right.
Lucifer is trying to get y'all to defile your father and mother and grandfather and grandmother by shooting stuff in your body, by
Mm.
eat flesh, and by eventually making you put a microchip in your body to say, look, I own your creation.
Right. Right.
And that's what you all are living with today. You're just trying to be made to defile your grandfather, grandmother, your mother, and your father, and to eat this flesh and stuff so you won't use the God side of your brain.
Wow.
You all are God and man, goddess and woman.
Right.
And they telling you, you only use a small part of your brain.
Right.
So
10% of your brain. Right.
not you, so you won't use the God and goddess in you.
Right.
And so if they get fake black conscious people to speak against the Lord's, you won't take that power.
Right.
It's about making you, the idea is not to make you works of Christ.
Mm.
The point of it, the point is to make you Christ-like.
Christ-like.
So
Right.
you can be Christ-like if you don't even believe it's a Christ.
Right.
So you have demons telling you there's no higher power. Why?
Right.
So you won't get yours.
Right. Right.
Christianity has to be what Christ taught.
Right.
What did Christ teach? How to walk on water.
Right.
How to raise the dead.
Right.
How to cure leprosy.
Right.
To cure COVID-19.
Right.
So true Christianity is to teach you how to walk on water. How to do miracles.
Right.
What is this Christianity they teach you?
Right.
How to be Christianity if it's not what the Christ was actually teaching them?
Exactly. Exactly.
Don't listen to no preacher tell you Peter said this and Paul said that. Go read what was Christ doing.
What are you doing?
What was he actually doing?
Right.
Why was he out there on the water telling them, come on, you can walk on the water, do it. You got to have faith.
Right.
If he was trying to make the disciples walk on the water, technically that is Christianity.
Right.
Technically.
Exactly right.
So when
Exactly.
you people like Muda Baruka teaching against that, this is when you start talking about false prophets.
Yeah.
See, Muda Baruka is no match for me. I would shut Muda Baruka up, okay, and tell him put some shoes on because people spitting and nothing on the ground, and you probably got parasites. And so listen, you young people, y'all can't keep listening to this old knowledge. Y'all got to create the new knowledge. You're supposed to get more powerful, not less powerful.
Yeah, we're supposed to be upgrading and going to the next level for each generation.
There's a reason they want to shoot luciferase in your body.
Wow.
It's a reason luciferase. It's a reason named the substance in a ladybug luciferase. Who told you to name that Lucifer?
Right.
Because that's light bearer. The person that controls mental telepathy.
Right.
You see, you got to understand, Lucifer is the prince of air.
Right.
Which makes him the prince of 5G, the prince of radio waves, microwaves, television waves, radio waves. We're going to have to do a part 2.
Yeah, we're going to do a part 2. Look, it's getting around the mystical time. I don't even know what time it is now, but yeah, it started coming out around this time. But we'll do a part 2, Pharaoh. I really appreciate you taking your time out, man, to spread this knowledge, man, and get the people aware of Emperor Haile Selassie and Empress Menen that don't know it, and just all the information in the Bible, a different aspect of the Bible and how to read it and what's really being said, you know. So I appreciate you, brother.
Right, that's right, y'all. Study Emperor Haile Selassie and study the Honorable Elijah Muhammad.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, brother. I'll get back in touch with you and we'll do a part 2, all right?
All right.
All right, peace.
All right, Selah.